Jade Collins was on camera, crying, and not the pretty kind of crying. The ugly kind. The kind where your face gets red and puffy and your voice breaks into little pieces. She was sitting on her bedroom floor in a white hoodie, her long braids messy and falling across her face, her ring light still on like she had forgotten to turn it off. I didn't think it would go this far, she whispered to the camera. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought this was how it worked. Then she looked directly into the lens. Her eyes were swollen. Her hands were shaking. But I destroyed someone's life, she said. And I don't know how to fix it. Then the video cut to black. That was it. No explanation. No name. No apology. Just those words hanging in the air like smoke. The internet exploded. Who did she destroy? What did she do? Why was she on the floor? Why hadn't she posted in 6 days before this? What happened to the brand deal she had just announced? Millions of people were asking the same question at the same time. What did Jade Collins do? And the answer? The answer starts not on that bedroom floor. It starts 8 months earlier, in a tiny apartment with bad lighting, a secondhand camera, and a girl who just wanted people to notice her. But before we go back to the beginning, drop a comment right now. Where are you watching from? I want to see every single country in those comments. And if you're new here, welcome. You are not going to want to miss where this story goes. Jade Collins was 22 years old, and she was tired. Not the kind of tired that goes away after a good night's sleep. She was tired in the way that creeps into your bones after months and months of working hard and seeing almost nothing come from it. She had been posting on social media for almost 2 years. Lifestyle videos, outfit posts, a few funny skits, a day in my life series that she thought was genuinely interesting. She had 14,000 followers. Now, 14,000 sounds like a lot when you say it out loud. But in the world of social media, where some people had 14 million or 140 million, 14,000 felt like standing at the bottom of a mountain and looking up at people who were already at the top, waving down at you. She lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Atlanta, Georgia with her best friend and roommate, Priya Osei, who worked at a coffee shop during the day and studied graphic design at night. Priya was kind and funny and real. She was also Jade's unofficial camera crew, lighting assistant, and emotional support system all rolled into one person. You're good, Jay, Priya would say almost every night when Jade sat at her editing desk, watching the view count on her latest video barely move. You're actually really good. It's just going to take time. I've been taking time for 2 years, Jade would say back. And she wasn't wrong. The apartment they lived in was small. The walls were thin. The kitchen had a leak under the sink that the landlord kept promising to fix and never did. Jade worked part-time at a clothing boutique called Marigold 3 days a week to pay her half of the rent. The other 4 days, she poured everything she had into her content. She would wake up at 7 in the morning, plan her shots, film for 3 or 4 hours, edit for another 3 or 4 hours, write her captions, post, respond to every single comment, and then fall into bed exhausted, only to wake up and do it all over again. And the growth was slow. Painfully slow. She watched other creators blow up overnight. She saw a girl from her hometown post one dancing video and gain 200,000 followers in a week. She saw a guy she went to high school with get a brand deal with a sneaker company after 6 months of posting. She watched people with less editing skill, less creativity, and less effort somehow rocket past her on every platform. It wasn't fair. And she knew it wasn't fair. And knowing it wasn't fair made it worse. Then one Thursday afternoon in October, something shifted. She was sitting on the floor of her apartment eating cereal because they were out of bowls. Priya had broken the last 2 in a dishwasher incident and scrolling through her phone. She was looking at a post from Cassidy Monroe, one of the biggest lifestyle influencers in the country. Cassidy had 4.2 million followers. She was blonde and tall and from a wealthy family in Connecticut, and her feed looked like it had been designed by a professional interior decorator. Everything was cream and gold and perfectly lit. Cassidy had just announced a major brand deal with a luxury skincare brand called Lumiere. The deal was reportedly worth over $200,000 for a single campaign. $200,000 for posting pictures and talking about face cream. Jade stared at that number for a long time. She looked around her apartment, at the water stain on the ceiling, at the broken bowl Priya had superglued back together and kept using anyway, at her camera sitting on the second-hand tripod she'd bought from a Facebook marketplace listing last year. She put down her cereal. She opened her laptop. And she started researching. She spent the next 3 weeks studying. Not the kind of studying she'd done in school. This was obsessive, detailed, almost scientific. She read every article she could find about how influencers got brand deals. She watched YouTube videos from creators who had cracked the code. She joined online forums where influencers shared tips and strategies. She took notes in a pink spiral notebook she bought from the dollar store and filled it with ideas, statistics, and questions. What she learned was this: brands didn't care as much about total followers as they did about engagement rates. An influencer with 50,000 followers who got tons of comments and likes was often more valuable to a brand than one with 500,000 followers who had a dead, silent audience. She also learned about niches. The most successful smaller influencers had found one specific thing they were known for and owned it completely. Beauty, fitness, budget cooking, vintage fashion, sustainable living. There was a girl who only posted about organizing her fridge who had 800,000 followers and worked with food storage brands full-time. Jade had been trying to do everything. That was her first mistake. Her second mistake, she realized, was that she had been playing it safe. Her videos were good, genuinely good, but they were soft. Nothing shocking. Nothing that made people stop scrolling. Nothing that made someone grab their friend by the arm and say, "You have to see this." She needed a hook. She needed something that made people feel something. She spent a week thinking about what she could do differently. And then, one rainy Tuesday night, she found it. She was on her phone at midnight, unable to sleep, when she came across a thread on a creator forum. The thread was called "The Fastest Way to Grow in 2024, Controversial Takes and What Happened." It had hundreds of replies. She read every single one. The idea was simple, almost uncomfortable in how simple it was. Creators who posted opinions, real, strong, slightly controversial opinions about things people already cared about, went viral far more easily than creators who played it safe. Not hateful opinions. Not mean opinions. But opinions that made people pick a side. This popular diet trend is actually harming you, and no one is talking about it. I tried the most hyped skincare products for 30 days, and here's the honest truth. Why I stopped buying from this brand everyone loves. Videos like these got shared, got argued about in the comments, got screenshot, and posted on other platforms. They created conversation, and conversation meant algorithm, and algorithm meant reach, and reach meant followers, and followers meant brand deals. Jade sat up in bed. Her mind was moving fast. She thought about Cassidy Monroe and her $200,000 skincare deal. She thought about Lumiere. And then, almost like a door opening in a dark room, she thought about something she had noticed a few weeks ago. Something she hadn't paid much attention to at the time. Something that now felt like the key to everything. She had been in a Facebook group for beauty influencers when she saw a post from a smaller creator named Tamara Wells. Tamara had about 8,000 followers, even fewer than Jade, and she mostly posted about drugstore makeup and budget skincare. Tamara had posted a photo of a Lumiere product with a long caption talking about how she'd been using it for 3 months and hadn't seen any of the results the brand promised. She wasn't mean about it. She wasn't trying to destroy the brand. She was just being honest. The post had gotten a few likes and a handful of comments. Someone in the group had replied saying they'd had a similar experience. A few people said they'd stick to their current routine. Nothing crazy. But Jade had screenshot that post.
She didn't know why at the time.
She just saved it to her phone and forgot about it. Now, at midnight in her dark bedroom, she pulled up that screenshot. She stared at it for a long time. Lumiere was the luxury skincare brand right now. They were everywhere. Every major influencer was either working with them or wanting to. Their products cost between $80 and $300 a bottle. Their Instagram was spotless. Their branding was flawless. And here was this tiny creator saying their products didn't work. Jade felt something she didn't quite have a name for yet. A kind of electric, nervous feeling in her chest. Like standing at the edge of a diving board. She closed her phone. She told herself to go to sleep. She didn't sleep at all. By morning, she had made a decision. She was going to make a video. Not a mean video. Not a hateful video. She told herself that very clearly. She was going to make an honest video. An informative video. A video that asked real questions about whether expensive skincare brands actually delivered on their promises, using real customer feedback, real reviews, real receipts. She told herself this was journalism. She told herself she was doing a public service. She told herself a lot of things. She opened her laptop and started building her case. She searched for every negative review of Lumiere she could find. Tamara's post was one of dozens she collected. Reddit threads where people said the moisturizer broke them out. Comments on beauty blogs where customers said they'd asked for refunds. A few low-star reviews on the brand's website that had since been deleted, but she found them through a web archive tool she'd read about in a tech article. She built a whole document. Evidence, she called it in her head. Research. But she kept coming back to one specific piece of information that she found on page 4 of a Google search, a comment on a small beauty forum where someone said that Lumiere had been quietly reformulating some of their best-selling products earlier that year, changing the ingredients without updating the packaging or marketing. If true, that meant people were paying premium prices for a product that was different from what they thought they were buying. The source was anonymous. The forum was obscure. There were no links to back it up. No journalist had reported on it. No verified account had confirmed it. Jade looked at that comment for a long time. Then she copy-pasted it into her document. She told herself she'd verify it later.
She didn't verify it.
She filmed the video on a Saturday afternoon. Priya was at work, so she was alone in the apartment. She set up her ring light, her camera, her backdrop, a white wall she'd decorated with some simple shelves and a plant, and she sat down. She talked for 45 minutes. She was good on camera. She always had been. She had this natural, easy energy that made you feel like she was talking directly to you, like she was your friend telling you something important over coffee.
She knew how to pause for effect.
She knew when to lean in. She knew when to lower her voice like she was letting you in on a secret. She talked about the history of luxury skincare marketing. She talked about the gap between brand promises and real results. She pulled up screenshots of negative reviews. She mentioned Tamara's post, not by name. She blurred out the username, but she used the story. She mentioned the ingredient reformulation rumor. She presented it carefully, with a disclaimer that it was unconfirmed. But the way she said it, the way she paused after it, the way she tilted her head and raised one eyebrow, it felt like more than a rumor. It felt like a fact she was being brave enough to tell you. She called the video, "Is Lumiere actually worth it? I looked into it, so you don't have to." She edited it down to 18 minutes. She added graphics. She used a font she'd seen on a popular investigative channel. She put a serious, slightly alarmed thumbnail on it. Her face, eyebrows raised, holding up a Lumiere product like she'd just discovered something in it. She posted it at 7 p.m. on a Sunday. By midnight, it had 12,000 views. By Monday morning, 80,000. By Tuesday evening, 1 million. Her phone would not stop buzzing. Comments were pouring in. People were sharing the video everywhere. Beauty forums were lighting up. Other influencers were responding in their stories. Someone posted a clip of her video on Twitter with a caption. She said what we were all thinking. That tweet alone got 40,000 retweets. Jade sat in the middle of her bedroom floor, the same floor she would one day be crying on, and watched the number climb. She was shaking. She had never felt anything like this. Priya came home from work, looked at Jade's phone screen, and screamed so loud the neighbors knocked on the wall. "You did it." Priya was jumping up and down in the kitchen.
"Jade.
You did it. Oh my God." Jade laughed. She was giddy, dizzy, almost tearful from pure shock and excitement. She gained 60,000 new followers in 48 hours. Brand inquiry emails started hitting her inbox. Small ones at first, a supplement company, a candle brand, a hair care startup. She ignored them. She was waiting for the big ones. On Wednesday, she got an email from a PR agency that represented 3 major beauty brands. On Thursday, she got a DM from a well-known lifestyle brand asking if she was open to partnership conversations. On Friday, she got an email from a fashion company offering her a paid campaign. She cried happy tears reading that email. Real tears. She called her mom in Birmingham, Alabama, and told her. Her mom cried too. She was doing it. She was finally actually doing it. And then, on Saturday morning, exactly 1 week after she posted the video, she got a different kind of email. The subject line was, "Legal notice. Cease and desist. Lumiere Beauty Group." Jade's stomach dropped so fast she felt sick. She read the email 3 times. The company's lawyers were claiming that her video contained false and defamatory statements. Specifically, they were calling out the ingredient reformulation claim, the one she had found on the obscure forum, the one she had never verified, the one she had presented on camera in that careful, eyebrow-raising way that made it feel true, even though she had no real proof. They wanted the video taken down within 24 hours. They were threatening to sue for damages. They named a number. Jade had to read the number twice to make sure she understood how many zeros were in it. She sat completely still for 4 minutes. She could hear the clock on the wall ticking. Then she called, "Priya." "Priya," she whispered. "I think I made a mistake." But here is where it gets complicated. Here is where the story stops being simple. Because Jade was scared. And when people are scared and things are going well in every other direction, they sometimes make the wrong choice. They choose the thing that protects what they've just built instead of the thing that's right. She did not take the video down. She called a friend who knew a little about social media law, not a real lawyer, just someone who had dealt with a smaller copyright issue once. And that friend told her that companies sent these letters all the time to scare people and that most of them never followed through. They don't want the attention a lawsuit would bring, the friend said. They're bluffing. Jade wanted to believe that. She really, really wanted to believe that. She kept the video up. And the views kept climbing. 3 million. 4 million. 5 million. More brand deals. A verified badge on one platform. An invitation to a creator event in Los Angeles. A mention from a beauty podcast with 200,000 listeners. She was flying. And then someone found Tamara Wells. It started with a comment. A small comment from an account with 200 followers buried deep in the reply section of Jade's most popular post. The comment said, "I know who the person in the blurred screenshot is. She has a small account. Her name is Tamara." Jade saw the comment. She deleted it immediately. But the internet moves fast. Someone had already screenshotted. Within hours, people were hunting. They compared the visual style of the blurred post to posts on smaller accounts. They looked at timing, at writing style, at the specific product in the photo. A group on a gossip forum, the kind of people who treated finding information like a competitive sport, had narrowed it down to 3 accounts by the end of the day. By the next morning, they had found Tamara. Tamara Wells was a 25-year-old nurse's assistant from Columbus, Ohio. She had 8,000 followers. She posted about affordable skincare and honest reviews. She had a gentle, kind presence online. She was not controversial. She had never sought drama in her life. She woke up on a Tuesday morning to find that her inbox had 4,000 new messages. Not fan messages. Hate messages. People calling her a liar. People saying she was trying to destroy a good brand. People saying she was jealous of successful influencers. People accusing her of being paid by a competitor to spread false information about Lumiere. Some of the messages were so cruel they are not worth repeating here. She had been identified because of Jade's video. She had been targeted because her post, her quiet, personal, nobody asked for drama post in a small Facebook group, had been used in a viral video without her permission, without her knowledge, and without her full context. Tamara had written about her personal experience with the product. That was it. Now strangers were sending her messages telling her she deserved bad things. She private her accounts. Then she deleted them. She stopped posting entirely. And then, 3 days later, A journalist from a mid-sized entertainment blog started digging into Jade's video, specifically the ingredient reformulation claim that Lumiere's lawyers had flagged. The journalist contacted several cosmetic chemists. They contacted former employees of the brand. They made calls and filed information requests and did all the things that Jade had not done before she pressed record. The journalist could not find a single piece of credible evidence to support the reformulation claim. They published an article. The title was, "Viral Influencer's Lumiere Video May Have Been Built on an Unverified Rumor, and One Small Creator Paid the Price." The article included Tamara's name. It included the fact that Tamara's accounts had been wiped. It included a quote from Tamara, the only one she gave to anyone, that said, "I just wanted to share my experience. I didn't want any of this." Jade read the article at 11:30 p.m. sitting at her editing desk. She read it again. And then she pushed her chair back from the desk, sat down on the floor of her bedroom, turned on her ring light because she didn't know what else to do, and pressed record. I didn't think it would go this far," she whispered to the camera. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought this was how it worked." She looked directly into the lens. "But I destroyed someone's life," she said. "And I don't know how to fix it." The video cut to black. And the numbers started climbing again. Only this time, Jade wasn't watching it with excitement. She was sitting in the dark, the ring light still on, staring at the wall, because the new comments weren't cheering for her. And Tamara Wells had just announced something in a single post on a new account, a post she made before going silent again, that nobody saw coming. Tamara wasn't gone. Tamara was preparing something. And whatever it was, it had already reached Lumiere's legal team, 3 major news outlets, and someone who Jade had never heard of, but was about to become the most important person in this entire story. A woman named Diane Cross. And Diane Cross? She wasn't an influencer. She wasn't a journalist. She was a lawyer. And she had already read every word of Jade's video. Diane Cross was 51 years old. She had short natural hair, reading glasses she kept on a chain around her neck, and a reputation in legal circles that made corporate lawyers nervous when they saw her name on an opposing brief. She had spent 23 years fighting cases that most people said couldn't be won. Consumer protection cases. Cases where big companies had silenced small voices. Cases where regular people had been made to feel like their experiences didn't matter because they didn't have money or power or a platform. She had won most of them. She worked out of a modest office in Columbus, Ohio, the same city where Tamara Wells lived, and she had 3 paralegals, 1 assistant, and a wall covered in framed rulings that her clients had gifted her over the years. On her desk was a coffee mug that said, "The underdog always has the best story." She had read about Tamara's situation in the entertainment blog article. Then she had watched Jade's original video. Then she had watched Jade's crying video. Then she had sat back in her chair, taken off her reading glasses, and thought for a long time. Then she had picked up her phone and called a number. Tamara answered on the second ring. "I saw what happened to you," Diane said simply. "I'd like to help. No upfront cost. You don't pay me unless we win something. But I want you to hear what I think your options are." There was a long silence on the other end. Then Tamara said, "Okay." That single word, that quiet, exhausted, barely there okay, was the sound of something beginning. Something that Jade Collins, sitting alone in her dark apartment watching numbers on a screen, had absolutely no idea was coming. Jade woke up the next day feeling like the ceiling was lower than it used to be. That's the only way to describe it. Like the room had gotten smaller overnight. Like all the space she'd felt just 2 weeks ago, all that big, wide-open feeling of finally making it, finally being seen, had been replaced by something tight and airless. She had 340,000 followers now. She should have been celebrating. Instead, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling for 40 minutes before she could make herself get up. Priya knocked on her door at 9.
"Jay?
"You up?"
Yeah."
Priya came in and sat on the edge of the bed. She didn't say anything right away. She just sat there, which was the thing Jade loved most about her. Priya never rushed toward the conversation. She let it come when it was ready. "How bad is it?" Jade finally asked. Priya took a breath. The article is still being shared. A couple of bigger accounts picked it up overnight. There's a hashtag. Jade closed her eyes. What's the hashtag? A pause. What's the hashtag, Priya? It's Jade Collins expose. Jade made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh and wasn't quite a groan. Something in between. The sound of a person watching something they built start to crack down the middle. And Tamara, she asked. She posted once. Just one line. On a new account. Priya held up her phone. Jade read the post. It said, I'm not done. I'm just getting started. 22 words. No explanation. No tagging. No hashtag. Just those words sitting there like a calm, quiet warning. It had 90,000 likes. Jade got up, made coffee, and sat at her editing desk. She opened her laptop and did the thing she knew she shouldn't do, but couldn't stop herself from doing. She read the comments. Most of them were not kind. People who had been cheering for her 10 days ago were now picking apart every frame of her original video. They were pointing out the moment she mentioned the reformulation rumor. They were screenshotting the eyebrow raise, the head tilt, the careful pause. They were saying things like she knew what she was doing, and she used a small creator to build herself up, and this is why we can't trust influencers. But there were also people defending her. She said it was unconfirmed. She's not a journalist. She's allowed to share concerns. The real villain here is Lumiere for sending legal threats instead of just addressing the reviews. People make mistakes. She already apologized. Leave her alone. The comments were a civil war. And Jade was the territory being fought over. She closed the laptop. She thought about calling her mom, but she didn't want to worry her. She thought about calling a lawyer, but she didn't know any lawyers, and the idea of that conversation terrified her. She thought about reaching out to Tamara directly. She opened Instagram. She found the new account Tamara had posted from. She typed and deleted a message 4 times. On the 5th try she wrote, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. I never wanted anyone to find you or hurt you. Can we talk? She stared at it for a full minute. Then she pressed send. The message delivered. Then almost immediately it showed seen. No reply came. Jade stared at the screen until the screen went dark. While Jade was sitting in her apartment watching her phone, Tamara Wells was sitting in Diane Cross's office on the other side of the state. She was small in person, 5'2", soft-spoken, with a habit of looking at her hands when she talked about things that upset her. She had brought a folder with her. Inside the folder was a printed copy of Jade's video transcript, a list of the messages she had received, screenshots of the harassment, a document showing the timeline of events, and a note she had written to herself at the top of the first page that said, Be clear. Be specific. Don't cry. She cried twice. Diane handed her tissues both times without making a big deal of it. Walk me through the original post, Diane said. Tamara explained. She had been a member of a small private Facebook group for skincare enthusiasts. Maybe 3,000 members. She had shared her genuine experience with a Lumiere product, a moisturizer she'd spent $120 on. She wasn't rude about it. She hadn't tagged the brand. She had simply shared her experience with other skincare lovers in what she believed was a private space. She had never consented to her post being shared outside that group. She had never consented to being screenshot. She had certainly never consented to having her post featured in a video seen by 5 million people, even with a blur, in a way that exposed enough details for a dedicated group of strangers to track her down. And the harassment, Diane said, tell me about the specific impact. Tamara looked at her hands. She had lost work. She had been a part-time brand ambassador for a small natural hair care company, a tiny deal, a few $100s a month, but it mattered to her. They had quietly ended the partnership after she appeared in the news coverage. They hadn't explained why. They hadn't needed to. She had also taken 3 days off from her nursing assistant job because she had been too anxious to leave her apartment. Her supervisor had been understanding, but had noted the absence in her file. She had changed her phone number. She had not slept a full night since it happened. I didn't do anything wrong, Tamara said quietly. I shared my opinion in a private group. And then I became a target. And nobody has come to me directly and said, "We're sorry. We'll fix it." Diane nodded slowly. She picked up her pen. "Okay," she said. "Here's what I think we can do." Jade was eating cereal again. They still hadn't bought more bowls when her phone buzzed with an email notification. The sender was listed as Cross and Associates, legal counsel. She spilled cereal on herself. She put the bowl down. She dried her shirt with a kitchen towel. She sat down on the couch. She took 3 slow breaths the way Priya had taught her once from a meditation app. Then she opened the email. It was 4 paragraphs long. Clear, precise, and polite in the way that legal language can be polite, which is to say, it was extremely polite and also extremely alarming. It said that Tamara Wells was exploring her legal options regarding the unauthorized use of her private social media post, the resulting harassment campaign, and the damages she had suffered as a result. It was not a formal lawsuit filing.
Not yet.
It was an opening communication, an invitation to respond, a chance for Jade to get ahead of what might come next. It also said something at the very end that Jade read 3 times. It said, "Ms. Wells is not primarily seeking financial compensation. Her principal concern is acknowledgement, accountability, and the prevention of similar harm to others. She is open to a direct conversation if Ms. Collins is willing." Jade sat with that for a long time. She had sent a DM asking if they could talk. Tamara hadn't replied. But Tamara's lawyer was saying she was open to conversation. That meant something. She didn't know exactly what it meant yet, but it meant something. She called Priya at work. "I need you to come home," she said. "Is everything okay? I got a letter from a lawyer."
A pause.
"I'm leaving in 5 minutes," Priya said. That evening, Jade and Priya sat at the small kitchen table with the email open on the laptop between them and 2 mugs of tea going cold beside them, because neither of them was drinking. "What do you actually want to do?"
Priya asked.
Jade had been thinking about this since the email arrived. About what she wanted. Not what was safest for her channel, not what her followers wanted to see, not what would generate the best response, what she actually wanted. "I want to talk to her," Jade said. "Not through a lawyer. Not through a PR statement. I want to actually talk to her." "That might not be the safest thing legally," Priya said carefully. "I know. You could say something that makes it worse." "I know. You could." "Priya." Jade looked at her best friend. "I used her story. Without asking. And people hunted her down, because of me. And she lost work. And she couldn't sleep. And she had to change her phone number." She stopped. "I didn't mean for any of that to happen. But it happened. And the least I can do is look her in the eye and say that. Even if it costs me." Priya was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded once. "Okay," she said. "Then that's what you do." Jade replied to Diane Cross's email that night. She wrote 2 drafts, both of which were too long and too apologetic in a way that felt more like self-defense than genuine regret. On the 3rd draft, she kept it simple. She said she had read the email carefully. She said she was not approaching this as a legal matter, but as a human one. She said she would like to speak with Tamara directly, without lawyers present if Tamara was comfortable with that, and that she would listen more than she talked. She said she understood if Tamara didn't want to meet, and that she would respect whatever decision she made. She pressed send. Then she went to bed. She actually slept. 3 days passed. Jade kept a low profile. She didn't post. She didn't go live. She answered some emails from brands, gently, not committing to anything, and she spent a lot of time sitting near the window watching Atlanta move around outside. Cars and people and dogs on leashes and kids on bikes. Life going on at its normal pace regardless of what was happening on the internet. On the 4th day, she got a text from an unknown number. "This is Tamara.
I'll talk to you."
Video call. Thursday at 7 p.m. "If you're late or if this feels like content, I'm hanging up." Jade typed back. "I'll be there. Thank you." She put her phone down. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for a week. Thursday at 7 p.m. Jade sat at her desk. No ring light. No camera set up to record. Her laptop open, the video call app loaded, her hands folded in her lap to keep them still. At exactly 7 o'clock, Tamara appeared on screen. She was in what looked like a kitchen. Warm light. A plant on the windowsill behind her. She was in scrubs. She had come straight from work. Her expression was neutral. Not hostile.
Not warm.
Just careful. The face of someone who had been hurt and was deciding, minute by minute, whether to stay in the room.
Hi, Jade said.
Hi, said Tamara. A silence that lasted maybe 5 seconds, but felt much longer. I want to start, Jade said, by not making any excuses. I'm going to try really hard to not explain myself or justify anything. I just want you to know what I actually think happened and what I actually feel about it. Tamara didn't say anything. She was listening.
So Jade talked.
She told the truth. All of it. She told Tamara about the night she found the screenshot, about the midnight research spiral, about wanting brand deals so badly that she had stopped asking the right questions. She told her about the reformulation rumor she hadn't verified. She told her about seeing the comments that first identified Tamara and deleting the comment instead of shutting down the entire conversation. She told her about the moment she got the cease and desist and chose to keep the video up anyway because she was scared of losing what she'd built. She said, "Every decision I made was about protecting myself. And you are the person who ended up not protected.
And that's not okay."
That was never okay. Tamara looked at her for a long moment. "You blurred my screenshot," she said. "You thought that was enough." "I thought it was enough," Jade agreed. "I was wrong. You thought using someone else's story to make your video more credible was fine as long as you hid their face. I didn't think it through enough to even get to fine," Jade said honestly. "I just saw what I needed and I used it. And I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. Not because you have a lawyer. Not because there's a hashtag. Because I look at what happened to you, and I feel sick." Another long silence. "I lost a brand deal," Tamara said. "It was small, but I'd worked for 8 months to get it. I know. I missed 3 days of work. I know. I got messages calling me things that." She stopped, pressed her lips together. "I'm a private person. I don't have millions of followers. I was in a private group. I wasn't trying to go viral. I was just talking." "I know," Jade said. "And I turned your private conversation into ammunition for my public one. And you never got to agree to that or refuse it." Tamara looked away, out the window at the plant. She was quiet for a moment. "What do you want from this call?" she asked. "Nothing," Jade said. "I really mean that. I don't want you to forgive me publicly. I'm not going to make a video about this call. I don't want content from this. I just wanted to look at you and say I'm sorry and hear what you have to say. Whatever you want to do legally or publicly, that's your right. I'm not here to talk you out of anything." Tamara turned back to the screen. She studied Jade's face for a moment. Then she said something unexpected. "I almost didn't call," she said. "Diane told me I didn't have to. I almost didn't." "Why did you?" Jade asked.
A pause.
"Because I wanted to know if you were actually sorry or if you were just scared." "And," Jade said quietly. Tamara considered for a moment. "I think you're both," she said. Jade nodded.
"Yeah.
I think I am too." What happened next surprised almost everyone. Tamara did not file a lawsuit. She did not make a public call-out video. She did not go on a podcast to tell her story. She did not do any of the things that the internet was expecting her to do. What she did was post a single statement, 3 paragraphs, plain text, no graphics, on her new account. It went live on a Monday morning, and it said this. She had been hurt by what happened. She wanted to be clear that she had done nothing wrong and that the harassment she received was never justified. She said that she had spoken directly with the person responsible and that she had made her own peace with it, not for anyone else, but for herself, because she was not going to let this be the thing that defined her. She said that what happened to her happens to small creators every day when bigger creators use them as stepping stones. And she ended with this. She was not forgiving the situation. She was stepping past it. There was a difference. The post had 200,000 likes by the end of the day. People in the comments were crying. People were calling Tamara gracious.
Wise. Strong. Real.
And in the middle of all those comments were people tagging Jade. Not to attack her. To ask her what she was going to do next. Jade had been asking herself the same question. She sat with it for almost a week. She thought about what she was building. She thought about why she started. She thought about the night she filled that pink dollar store notebook with ideas and dreams and questions, and she thought about how somewhere between that night and the night she pressed record on that Lumiere video, something had quietly shifted. She had started creating for the audience she wanted to have instead of creating for the truth she actually believed. That was the real mistake. Everything else had grown from that. On a Friday afternoon, she filmed a new video. No ring light this time. Just the natural light from the window. No fancy backdrop, just her bedroom wall. She sat in her desk chair, and she talked for 25 minutes, and she didn't cut a single uncomfortable pause or stumble or moment of silence from the edit. She called the video, "I want to tell you the full truth about what happened, and what I'm going to do differently." She talked about the original video, about the reformulation claim she hadn't verified, about Tamara. She used her name, with permission, and linked to Tamara's account 3 times in the video. She talked about the cease and desist. She talked about why she kept the video up when she should have taken it down. She talked about the late-night research spiral and the brand deal hunger, and the way she had convinced herself that wanting something badly enough was the same as deserving it. She said, "I wanted to be seen so badly that I stopped seeing other people clearly. I stopped treating their stories like they belonged to them. And that's on me. Fully on me." She also announced that she was removing the original video permanently. Not because of legal pressure. Because it wasn't right to leave it up. She announced that she was partnering with a media literacy organization to co-create content about fact-checking, ethical sourcing, and the responsibilities that come with having a platform, even a small one. And she said one more thing. She said, "I don't know if I deserve a second chance at this. I genuinely don't know. But if I get one, I'm going to build it differently. I'm going to build it on something real. Even if it's slower. Even if it's smaller. Even if every brand that was interested in me last week walks away." She posted it at noon on a Friday. By Sunday, it had 8 million views. Here is the part that nobody predicted. Lumiere Beauty Group, the brand that had sent the cease and desist, the brand whose lawyers had threatened Jade with a number that had a lot of zeros, made a public statement of their own. It came out the same week as Jade's video. It said that following the attention generated by the online conversation, they had conducted an internal review of their product formulations and customer feedback processes. They acknowledged that they had not done enough to address negative customer reviews and that they had been too quick to respond with legal action toward a content creator expressing concerns rather than addressing those concerns directly. They announced that they were reformulating 2 of their products. Not because the rumor Jade had spread was true, but because the attention had forced them to actually look at the feedback that real customers like Tamara, had been leaving for months. Feedback that had been quietly buried under the polished marketing surface. Tamara Wells got a personal email from their CEO, a real apology, a full refund for the product, and an invitation, if she ever wanted it, to be part of their reformulation feedback panel as an actual paid consultant. Tamara thought about it for a week. Then she said yes. She posted about it simply, without drama, in a way that was entirely her, calm and honest and unimpressed by the gesture, but open to what it could become. Her new account hit 100,000 followers within a month. Brands started reaching out. Real ones, with genuine interest in her honest voice and loyal audience. The nursing assistant, who just wanted to talk about skincare in peace, had accidentally become one of the most trusted beauty voices online. Not because she went viral, because she stayed real when everything around her was chaos. As for Jade, 6 months later, she had 500,000 followers. Less than the numbers she had touched during the peak of the viral storm. Less than what she might have had if none of this had happened, and she had just kept riding the wave. But every single one of those 500,000 people was there because they had watched her fall and watched her get back up and decided they trusted what she was building now. Her brand deals came back. Different ones, smaller, more aligned, from companies that had watched how she handled everything and decided she was the kind of voice they wanted attached to their name. Not because she was perfect, because she had proven she could be honest when honesty was costly. She never did get the Lumiere deal. She didn't expect to. She also never went back to the boutique job. She didn't need to anymore. Priya quit the coffee shop 6 months later to come work with her full-time as her creative director. They got a new apartment. This one had a kitchen where nothing leaked and enough bowls for both of them. The pink dollar store notebook lived on Jade's bookshelf. She never threw it away. Some nights, she would take it down and read through the old ideas and dreams and questions she had written in it back when she had 14,000 followers and a secondhand tripod and a ceiling that felt very far away. She still wanted to make it. She still worked harder than most people understood. But the hunger felt different now.
Cleaner somehow.
Like she had boiled away everything that wasn't real and been left with just the thing that had been there at the beginning. A girl who liked telling stories and wanted people to feel something when they watched. That part hadn't changed. That part, she decided, was worth keeping. And Tamara? Tamara went back to work the Monday after everything settled. She clocked in, changed into her scrubs, checked in on her patients, and did her job the same way she always had, carefully, kindly, without drama. On her lunch break, she posted a photo of her thermos and a granola bar with the caption, "Back to regular life. It's better here." It got 80,000 likes.
She was not surprised.
It was, after all, the most honest thing she had ever posted. And that is where story ends. Not with a perfect ending, because real life doesn't work that way, but with two women who came out of the fire knowing something they didn't know before. Jade learned that the shortcut you take to get somewhere faster can sometimes take you somewhere you never wanted to be. And Tamara learned that staying true to yourself, even when the world tries to make you into something else, is the most powerful thing you can do. Sometimes the unexpected thing that happens isn't a disaster. Sometimes it's the thing that finally sets everything straight. If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it made you feel something, please subscribe to this channel. Every subscriber helps us keep telling stories like this one. Hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. And drop a comment. Whose story hit you harder? Jade's or Tamara's? I want to know. See you in the next one.